At an earlier time, I sat down with the one, the only Jules Wainstein, and today I share this never before aired chat with the one and only Jules Wainstein. We talk about RHONY past, talk about RHONY future, my, how things have changed. But stay tuned, sit back. Today we are joined from a never before, from the vault, never before heard chat with the one and only Miss Jules Wainstein.
What about LA?
I'm in LA all the time. All the
I
time.
have my best friend who I want to convert so I can marry him, but he's not. His name is Nick Lamarada, and he's gorgeous.
That's a good
and
name.
You'll love him.
That's a good name.
Nicky Lamarada.
Listen, I already come with a place in New York. Like, we could be bi-coastal. Like, there's worse options, right?
He's amazing. He lived in New York. He just moved there a year ago.
Everyone's leaving.
You'll love him.
Listen, we're gonna connect after this.
Yes, you're gonna love him. I'll send you pictures.
Oh, please do. It's all about the picture. What was your, like, when you think back to RHONY though, like, do you have like certain highs that stick out from your one season?
Yeah. There is an episode which I'll hold forever. My father passed away almost 3 years ago. He was my best friend. And I don't remember what episode, maybe it was towards the end. And I got to visit my parents before Luann's engagement party on that boat. And I got to visit my parents in Boca before I went to West Palm. And I just watched it like a couple weeks ago, and I talk about how I love my dad and he's my best friend, and I have that forever on television. You know, it's like a home video, and I miss him so much. You know, so I have that forever, and those, you know, these are real live home videos. You know, so I have, you know, I'm so grateful for that. And you know, when I say like one season isn't enough to show who you are, you know, because you play a character of yourself. So like, you know, you get these trolls on Instagram or social media that they're like, you are a drug addict, you're crazy. I'm like, I don't really put drugs in my calzone, you know, like that's how they want you, you know, whatever. But
yeah,
that I was really upset about. I'm like, oh my God, please don't. But it all worked out at the end. And I, you know, I mean, like the show made me look like I can't even boil water when I, you know, I like literally I'm like Home Depot's #1 customer.
They have a certain way of editing, right?
Yeah. But at the end of the season, I was happy with how, you know, I looked and whatever. But, you know, I wouldn't say I wouldn't go back. I mean, it was fun.
You would go back if you were asked.
Right. Maybe, yeah, maybe. But I don't know. Maybe I mean I wouldn't go back. Maybe I would do it in Miami. Who knows? Miami started here. Have you watched?
Miami's there. I was just gonna say, I mean, Boca's not so far from Miami. Like, do you know any of the Miami girls, like Larsa Pippen, Alexia, Marisol?
I don't know them, but I basically live in Miami since we opened up this place at the Faina Bazaar. So maybe it could be an option. I know the producers, they're the same producers as New York. I don't know, who knows?
We might see one. I mean, you're down there, that makes sense, you know?
Who knows?
I have more to say about that in a second. Do you have any lows from your time? Like, anything stand out as like, just, that was like a bad fight, or that was the drama that just stays with me?
I think the ending of my marriage, how it was well, nothing that went out, the gossip of my marriage, you know, it never came from my mouth. You know, it came from someone else, which I'm not going to say who, you know, but I think that person used me being on the show and the media as his narrative. And that's why I stepped off, you know, for my kids' sake. And it's unfortunate that happened, you know. So I feel like that was that was a low for me, you know.
And you did step off. Listen, I work for myself. I had my own business, but way back, I used to practice law. I have a whole background. I've been fired from
Really?
like, oh yeah, I used to be a lawyer. I mean, I'm still a lawyer, but I just don't practice. But I've been fired from lots of
Wow.
jobs. No shade, but you truly stepped away because, you know, sometimes we say that and the real truth is, look, Bravo let you go and that's okay. Because I mean, I've been fired. So is that really true? You stepped away because of all that stuff that was going on with your marriage and your kids?
Well, the deal was is that I had to have the kids had to be on the show. Um, you had it's a reality show. You have to talk about your marriage and what's going on in your real life, and I wasn't allowed to. Um, at the reunion, I was told I couldn't talk about what was going on in my divorce from my attorneys, and they were so respectful. Bravo and I have an amazing relationship, but the following season, um, you know, that was a deal breaker. So I said I can't, and I can't have my kids on the show. So
Right.
I had to. We decided it wasn't going to work out.
And you would have had to talk about it because that's just the reality of what was going on
I
in
mean,
your
it
life.
was the biggest thing. It was the biggest thing ever, you know, and it really was. I mean, it lasted 7 years later. I just got divorced September 15th, 2020. It took that long, but I have full custody of my children, final decision making, 100% sharing time now because he doesn't see the kids. So it's amazing, you know, it all worked out.
That's really good. Well, I know you say
Yeah.
you think like the first 3 seasons of RHONY were like the classic seasons, but if you look at like lists that, you know, Bravo historians make and people that really write about this, season 8 is listed either as like the #1 season or like in the top 2 or 3. A lot
I
because
know.
it's really like the number that's on all these lists. I mean, okay, let's face it, a lot of it was because of, you know, Bethenny bringing this thing to Luann and Luann saying, please let it not be about Tom. And guess what? It was about
It
Tom.
really was. Yeah. You know, Luann wasn't even supposed to hold an apple. She was supposed to just be a friend.
Right.
Right. And then she ended up sitting next to Andy Cohen at the reunion. Can you believe it? A main character. It was incredible. That season was really, I mean, we had the highest ratings ever.
I think for New York, especially, it was one of the first times like something real, you know, now it happens all the time with like Erica Jane and Jen Shaw and like, but that was like, oh my God, like this is real. Like this is bigger than the show that like
Mm-hmm.
one of these people married someone and this is like your real life. I mean, even though it was supposed to be your real life, it was like so big about what was going on in kind of a
Right.
shocking way. Do you remember that whole, like, you know, you had this scene with Luann where, you know, you were talking about your father being sick and she was talking about, I can't believe Bethenny did this to me. I mean, not to
Yeah. And the
laugh at, you
Berkshires.
know,
Yeah.
it's like, of course, Luann is talking about this and how Bethenny thinks about her. And
Well, I mean, I felt really bad for her. I mean, who walks in and it's like, you're a fucking whore. And I mean, who does that? I mean, Bethenny is special and she's mean. And that was really like, I would have died if somebody did that to me. However, my father was really sick. And there is, oh, sorry, somebody's walking. Sorry, I'm at the store.
you're at your space.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, she just was a little bit insensitive, and it was like, you know, my dad's dying, and Bethenny called you a whore. You know, take a minute. It was a little bit selfish, but I didn't really take it that serious. But the whole world did.